Welcome to another exciting episode of Walling In with the Jakatak. I'm your host, Jack, and this is Zerg. So, Zerg is the same. Zerg is the same as everything else, except they have this cool little thing called a spore crawler. And by cool little thing, I mean it sucks for pathing when you want to block path. It's great if you want to go around it, so if you throw it in your mineral line, it doesn't make as big a difference as, say, a cannon or a turret will. But it's kind of annoying if you want to use it to wall in. The spine crawler, however, is going to function like a 2x2 building. So those are our three types of buildings. We have the 2x2 building. If you have the build grid, we have 2x2, right? Spine crawler. Then we have our 5x5 building, which is the hatchery, lair, and hive. And then we have our 3x3 building. Whenever we're using 2x2 or 3x3 buildings that are not spore crawlers, we can make walls in a couple of different ways. So the first wall we have over here, this is from overlapping. 1 square. We can do that with spore crawlers and spine crawlers if we alternate the spore crawlers and the spine crawlers. But keep in mind that we can go in between 2 spore crawlers. So if you're trying to make a wall, never put 2 spore crawlers together. Ever. Generally, you won't be putting 2 spore crawlers together anyway, so you should be fine. However, if you use the spore and the spine alternating, they will make a wall that is very tight, that is as tight as can be. Nothing's going to get through it, not even Zerglings. So to make that, we have the overlap of 1 square all the way through. The other type of walling we have is the sort of checkerboard type, where we just touch the corners. This does not work if you alternate spore crawlers and spine crawlers. So, don't do it. If you're going to do this kind of a technique, do it with only spine crawlers. Now, the question is, what's the advantage of this technique? The advantage of this particular technique is that Zerglings, drones, banelings, and other small units can get through one of these checkerboard walls, but Hellions cannot. So, if you want to make your base Hellion-proof, and you're going for a Ling, Bane, Mutalisk style, you can have these walls all over the place, and you're going to be constricting motion for your opponent to do run-bys, but you're not going to be constricting any of your motion because Mutalisk fly and everything else that you have goes through. The one thing is the Queen. The Queen won't be able to get through this type of a wall, so plan accordingly. With Zerg, we don't have a particularly set wall for all maps like we do with Paras and Terran. Paras and Terran have okay, these are the ways that we can wall in a ramp for the most part. But the issue with Zerg is that, well, they don't really usually wall in this ramp because they don't have creep there. Maybe that'll be happening in the future now that the spine crawler creates walls. That didn't happen in Wings of Liberty. If you're playing Wings of Liberty still, the spine crawler works exactly like the spore crawler in Wings of Liberty. So it cannot form this cool little pattern here. However, you can make walls like this. We have a couple evolution chambers. We have a spine crawler, and then we have the Queen to finish it off, kind of a thing. So, yeah, with Zerg, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. There's going to be a little bit more creativity and experimenting done on your part. Just load up some games against AI or some games against no one and experiment, figure out how you want to use your wall, and just sort of use the principles that we discussed here to be able to make your wall. One last thing. If you're going to be making a wall and you're going to include your hatchery, keep in mind that you have to overlap 2 squares. So if you're using a 2x2 building, it has to be overlapping 2 squares of the hatchery. Overlapping 1 square like this is going to make a hole. So things like Zerglings and drones, the small units, will be able to get through. Same with spawning pools. If you want to make a spawning pool part of your wall, you have to do the same thing. So this overlaps 3, but overlapping 2 squares like this, we put the spawning pool here, great. Here, not so great. Unless, of course, we want to be moving in and out. If you want to be able to move in and out of your base very easily, then yeah, overlap 1 square. That's going to create the same kind of a wall-in that we have at the front when you're using hatcheries. So overlap 1 square, and Hellions won't be able to get through, but Zerglings, drones, banelings will be able to get through. So hopefully that was helpful for you. And please leave your questions, comments, criticisms, concerns, and all else beginning with a C in the chat, in the comments section, and I will see you all again very soon.